Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Nothing you can do, you have to leave it to others. I was arrested in front of my mum, taken out of my house. I was kept there for about 6.5 hours before I released, after being interviewed and everything like that. And that was when I was allowed to tell my mum, okay, this is what's happened. This is what I'm accused of. And from then onwards, that was it. My mum just went into overdrive. Okay, how can we do anything? And then when you find out about a month in that there is nothing you can do, you have to leave it to other people to investigate. You can't really give anything. That was it. It was a waiting game. I couldn't speak, couldn't move, and you can't do anything. You just freeze, because it's not like you have any preparation for it. It's not like you could have ever even imagined how you'd feel. It's not just betrayal that you feel. It's just pure fear. The whole process is intimidating, which is, I suppose, it's supposed to be. Of course, if you're arrested, it's supposed to be intimidating, but when it's false, it's more intimidating, because you're instantly into, how can I prove that I'm innocent? How can I do it? How can I do it? I haven't slept properly for about 2 years, so no, that's, yeah. Sleep, eating, your whole daily life routine, just, you have to keep yourself busy. If you don't, then it's the first fault when you wake up, and it's the last fault when you go to sleep. And obviously you can't control what you dream about, you can't control about what you daydream about. At any point in the day where you're by yourself, or you have that time to think, it's the only thought that's always going to be on your mind. It has been difficult dating life, it has, because you don't know what, it takes another person to then go do the same thing, and you think, okay, who's capable of doing that? But then when you meet the people that I've met, there's not been a single person, anyone I've dated, I've said, or anyone I've done anything, any kind of physical contact with, I've said, this is what's the allegations against me. It's up to you how you proceed from here. If you want to cut it off, I'm more than understand, because obviously you don't properly know who I am. This would be on before a first date or anything, so yeah, and those people decided to carry on. So, well, everyone keeps telling me that I'm the one that was going through it, but everyone that knows you is going through it with you, 100% hand in hand. This sounds really horrible. You're going to have to start planning for life without you. So my biggest problem was I'm the only family my mum's really got in terms of very close family. So if I went away, how's my mum looked after? I'm support all of my friends for everything that they do. So if I'm not there to do that, how can I still sort of make sure that carries on? You can't not go through this and not panic and not fear, and remain strong through the whole thing. It could bring the strongest person in the world to their knees. That would be it. The whole life is in other people's hands.
Rape trial falls apart after accuser's 40,000 texts are revealed. By Victoria Craw, news.com.au, December 16, 2017, 12:40 p.m. A student has described going through mental torture after a rape case against him was thrown out in court because police had failed to hand over more than 40,000 messages from his accuser. Liam Allen, 22, faced up to 10 years in jail, charged with 6 counts of rape and 6 counts of sexual assault against a young woman over a 14-month period that began when he was 19. The criminology student at Greenwich University had spent nearly 2 years on bail and 3 days in Croydon Crown Court when the trial was stopped in a dramatic fashion after it emerged police officers had failed to hand over evidence that proved his innocence. The alleged victim had claimed she did not enjoy sex, while Mr. Allen claimed it was consensual and she was acting maliciously because he refused to see her after he returned to university. Now, the judge has called for an inquiry at the very highest level to understand why police failed to hand over critical evidence, including 40,000 messages from the accuser to Mr. Allen and friends. The messages showed how she had continually messaged Mr. Allen for casual sex, said how much she enjoyed it, and discussed fantasies of violent sex and rape, the Times reports. Outside the court, Mr. Allen said he went through mental torture over the 2-year period and relied on the system to uncover evidence that would exonerate him. When first accused, he turned to a local lawyer he had done work experience with and said he was terrified at the idea of going to prison with sex offenders and worried about what would happen to his mum and flatmates when he was away. "You are all on your own. I could not talk to my mother about the details of the case because she might have been called as a witness. I couldn't talk with my friends because they might have been called. I felt completely isolated at every stage of the process," he said. "I can't explain the mental torture of the past 2 years. I feel betrayed by the system which I had believed would do the right thing, the system I want to work in. The life-changing discovery was made at the 11th hour when a new prosecutor, Jerry Hayes, took over the case one day before the trial began and ordered police to hand over records including a computer disk that contained 40,000 messages. Mr. Allen's lawyers had already sought access to the accusers' telephone records and messages, but their requests were denied on the basis there was nothing of interest in them. Upon discovering the messages, Mr. Hayes said he would offer no evidence in court and would like to apologize to Mr. Allen. There was a terrible failure in disclosure which was inexcusable, he said. There could have been a serious miscarriage of justice, which could have led to a very significant period of imprisonment and life on the sex offenders register. It appears the officer in the case has not reviewed the disk, which is quite appalling. Speaking later, he said detectives had previously told him the sexual messages were too personal to share. The defense quickly saw the information blew the prosecution out of the water. If they had not been seen, this boy faced 12 years in prison and on the sex offenders register for life with little chance of appeal. This was a massive miscarriage of justice, which thank heavens was avoided, he told the BBC. Judge Peter Gower said Mr. Allen was not guilty on all charges. There is something that has gone wrong and it is a matter that the Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, in my judgment should be considering at the very highest level, he said. Mr. Allen leaves the courtroom an innocent man without a stain on his character. Mr. Allen's defense lawyer Julia Smart said she also received details about the text messages the night before she was due to cross-examine the accuser, and when she told the court of her findings the trial was scrapped. Mr. Allen's mom, Lorraine Allen, 46, said the current climate means that many people are treated as guilty until you can prove you're innocent. A spokesman for London Metropolitan Police said, "We are aware of this case being dismissed from court and are carrying out an urgent assessment to establish the circumstances which led to this action being taken. We are working closely with the Crown Prosecution Service and keeping in close contact with the victim while this process takes place." The Crown Prosecution Service said they will not conduct a management review with the Metropolitan Police to examine the way in which the case was handled. Mr. Hayes, who is a former Conservative MP, wrote in the Times the case marked the most appalling failure of disclosure I have ever encountered. The CPS are under terrible pressure, as are the police. Both work hard but are badly under-resourced. Crown Court trials only work because of the cooperation and goodwill of advocates and the bench, but time pressures are making this increasingly difficult.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.